Sure. I'm Katie Rood. I am a Kiwi kid from the north of the North Island in New Zealand. Grew up in nature, at the beach, pretty much free range kid, that kind of thing. Um, Big into sport, love playing every sport under the sun, and eventually realized that I could maybe uh, travel the world and play some sport. So I decided to endeavor on a football career that took me to Italy initially, where we won the Scudetto, they call it, but the Italian Championship with Juventus, which was an amazing experience. And then I went to Bristol for a little bit in the WSL before moving to Championship side Lewis, where they kind of pioneered the whole equality FC, and it's a community-owned club, and it was really cool to be a part of. And I really found my voice there as an athlete, and realizing that actually there's probably a bigger, I was going to call it a game we can play other than actual football, but like there's more to be engaged in than just a game, maybe put it that way. Um, and yeah, just kind of started using my voice around environmentalism, veganism, and just appreciating nature more. And since then, I've been playing for a few different clubs, including up in Scotland. And now I'm back in New Zealand, running a girls' football academy here and trying to get back to full fitness after an injured knee. So that's where I'm at the moment. And that's probably a good summary of me and what I've been up to lately.
Thank you so much for sharing that and also making the time because we are quite literally the opposite end of the world. And I think it's really early for you and it's borderline bedtime for me. So, yeah.
We did it.
We made the time. So let's start with the first question. And I'd love to hear, what does being strong mean to you?
Yeah, it's one that I've thought about a lot lately. And I think there's so many different elements to the word strong and to what being strong means. But I think for me, the one I'm focusing on most at the moment is actually, I'm doing a lot of physical strong, trying to get fit, but the kind of spiritual strength, I think, in a sense of, um, I think it takes a lot of courage to look at the world today and see things for how they are. And then to step into the responsibility that we each have to do our part. I think it takes strength, it takes resilience, it takes courage to be able to be optimistic and to put your best foot forward again and again and again, despite what's going on in the world. So I think that's probably at the moment how I would define strength.
As you know, last year I did that big cycle and I was hoping after 3 months I'd find this amazing answer that would solve all of life's problems, and obviously didn't exist. But I didn't find a reason to stop looking or having hope that it does. So yeah, it's believing even in that dark space that
Yeah.
there will be light, not to be too cliche.
And I think I came to that too by our conversations and the interactions we've had together and your journey as well. And like what we just said before this chat about the economic drive, but regardless of that, doing what you're passionate about, what you feel fulfilled in, and what you like contributing yourself to the world, I think that takes a lot of strength and courage and finding ways to do it. I think you definitely inspire me in that. So thank you.
Thank you. But it's like that life, it's circular, isn't it? So when I need picking up, I look at you and you inspire me to carry on, and hopefully vice versa. So uh, looking at your life, can you share an experience when you had to be strong, and how did you handle it?
Oh, every day. um, every day. But probably, yeah, I think with my career in football, it hasn't quite gone as I had anticipated. I think as an athlete, you think you're just going to go from um, one thing to the next and climb the ladder towards success. But for me, it's definitely been a rocky road along the way. But whilst I haven't necessarily succeeded as I would have hoped to in football and the trajectory that I wanted to, the lessons that I've learned aside from that or through that even have been like next to none. I think living in Italy was the first big test of strength and courage for me. I was pretty naive. I went over as a 24-year-old, not knowing the culture, the language. I just had this opportunity to trial for a football club that yeah, I just had to go do it. But going from small town New Zealand to big city Italy was quite an awakening, shall we say. So that was the steepest learning curve I've ever been through. And I just had to learn how to, yeah, take on each day, take on the challenges, how to reframe things in my mind to survive it at times, the challenges that came with it. So I think sometimes throwing yourself in the deep end and just finding a way to get through is a good way to kind of speed up that evolution of maturity, perhaps, or just like see what you're made of in a way. I think travel does that for you as well. Just experiencing life through so many different facets and people's eyes, and just, yeah, learning who you are in the world. I think that's definitely takes a lot of strength, is what I've found on my journey.
You know, culturally being around different people, it opens up our heart to different layers of compassion as well, that how we live may not be, is very distinct and different, but it doesn't mean it's wrong or right or better. It's just different. So
Exactly.
looking at society through the lens of a woman, how do you think the expectations societally about women affect the concept of strength?
Yeah, I think strength has been kind of masculinized in a way. It's like we think strong, we think muscular, we think dominating, we think um, gym junkies into protein shakes, I think. But um, man, I'm living with two young female parents, you know, and watching them just raise this kid, and the strength it takes to be able to just to communicate openly and figure out how to do each day. And even I grew up thinking or not considering how much effort it would take to be a stay-at-home mom, raise children, raise families, the expectations on women throughout that. Um, yeah, just an immense amount of strength to be able to get through that each day and meet the needs of your child, but also look after yourself enough to be able to continue to do that. And I think especially learning about the stories of Indigenous women and the plight that they've been through since, yeah, since the Europeans arrived. I think the resilience and the strength and the nurturing and the wisdom in woman is just, I think it's too scary for a lot of people to hold. I think there's so much strength in women, and what they've had to endure over the generations, and we're still here and we're still pushing for it. And yeah, I think it's testament to those that came before us.
I was part of a book club last year. A group of women were reading, I think it was The Way of the Wild Wolf or something. There was about a woman re-embracing her wild side. And it was about just reconnecting to our inner voice, basically, and shedding those beliefs. And I know I'm a white woman from Britain, so there's a layer of privilege and ability that I was given purely by accident and by birth, that, as you said, as Indigenous women, they have a whole nother layer of oppression. But just rediscovering my own voice was quite enlightening, and that was in my 40s, which is shocking, really, how often I was shushed in my life, and I thought that was an acceptable behavior. So yeah, I'm learning to roar again, just so you know.
Yes, I love it. Love it.
And you know, what are some common misconceptions about strength that you've encountered?
I think just that it's like it's physically strong, it's dominating, it's that kind of thing. But I think being in the vegan movement for quite a while as well, and seeing how these really strong looking men are able to be vulnerable, and they've I've heard them talking about how it takes so much strength to nurture and protect and to take care of and to meet people where they are. And it's not about being dominating or yeah, trying to be controlling or coercive. It's about accepting people where they are and meeting them where they are and meeting them where you are as well. And I think um it's really beautiful when especially men can break past that indoctrination that's been put on them, to, you know, eat meat and be strong and be tough and all of that, to actually let's just all be human. And I think at the core of most humans is compassionate, and compassion towards all beings, I think, is a really healthy, strong trait to have. And I think, again, it's like the strength to be able to see the world as it is and to find your own path and not just follow everybody else's and what's perceived as the norm, I think, is quite damaging a lot of the time. So yeah, there's so many different ways strength has kind of just narrowed our vision to thinking, oh yeah, working all the time, doing this, putting in the hard yards. I think there's a time and place for it, but we just need to, I think, open up and explore life and enjoy our time and our bodies and experience the world in a more playful way.
Yeah. Well, you were a few minutes late to the call because you were outside playing with your friend's child, looking at the leaves, because you're supporting them have space for themselves and also connecting to nature through the eyes of a child. And that life isn't about deadlines, life's about connection. So, it's amazing that you had the time and you're connecting with nature, with this child, with the family, giving them space as well. And that's why we're here. It's not for the to-do list. So yeah, what you're saying, it is about just opening that spectrum up and realizing the entire point of this planet is for people, not for projects.
Yeah. Or beings. Anyway, life. It's for life.
It
for
is.
living.
It is. Yeah. And how has your understanding of strength influenced your approach to goal setting and success?
Yeah, so this kind of ties into what I was saying earlier about how I thought my trajectory in football would be linear. But I think the more I've learned and the more I've come to understand, and the direction in which I want to head is a bit like what we just said there. I want to have an open mind, an open heart, and just follow my passion and do things that are good for everybody, everyone. And so now I think it's less about the results, it's less about the outcomes, and it's more about the journey and the intentions behind it. I think if like say if I could go to a major event and succeed, that would be fantastic. But if I could do so in a way that also uses my platform to help influence people in a really positive way, then that's a far bigger win than it would be having just gone to the event and saying I've ticked that box. So or I can work towards that event, say the Olympics this year. Oh my god, that's in a few months. Just hypothetically, if I was working towards the Olympics, I could do so in a way that I'm also using that platform. And then if I don't make the team, then I've still had an impact, and not my whole identity is not pinned on just that outcome that inevitably isn't in my hands the whole way. So that's how I'm looking at my goals and stuff.
There's a quote that I'm very blessed I'm having these amazing conversations, and there are common threads with nearly everyone I've spoken to. And so I've said this quote before. It's about setting a goal in stone, but the journey in sand. And just letting go. As you said, we can't control everything. We do our best, and maybe the goal is connection, that platform, community, that bigger story than the medal. But it's being that fluidity along the way. So from your own experience, Katie, I know this is a big ask, like, do you have a tip or technique for developing and nurturing strength?
I think we need to slow down. I think we need to take time to get educated. I think education is power, and from there you can really kind of take back your control on a lot of things. I think often we make choices and we have influences on the world that we don't intend to, and they can cause quite a lot of suffering. And I think the more you look into it, so, I mean, it's not lie. I mean, it can be overwhelming, but once you get beyond that first initial reaction of, okay, this is what's happening when I do A, B, or C, how can I now pivot to have a more positive impact? Because now there are so many organizations and institutes and companies and things that are really trying to do the right thing, that are trying to help you be able to invest a bit more wisely, because every dollar spent, you know, as much as I'd rather it not be, the world is set up on a global economy. It's driven by the dollar. So where we spend our money does matter. And the more in tune we are with that, then I think the more influence we can have in the more positive way. So I think getting educated to then, yeah, take accountability for your actions, I think is a way to really hone in that strength. And I think then, and then taking that time to play and to sit still and think about what's next for you, and not just be pulled by life, but to actually try and navigate it how you want to do it. I think it's so hard, but I guess that's why it takes strength to do.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And I like asking the same question from the beginning at the end. So what does being strong mean to you?
I think being strong to me means giving it your best shot every day. It's not always going to be the same, but every day you have an opportunity to do the best that you can that day, in so many elements, in so many ways. So I'll probably leave it at that one. Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. Well, Katie, thank you so much. It's always a delight chatting with you. We obviously met in person when I was up in Scotland and then down in London. So, you know, it's not the same, but I'm really grateful for you making the time and being part of my 45 Strong series.
Thank you, Kate. It's an honor, and I cannot wait to see everybody's interview. It's going to be so cool.
Yay.